There is a rule that controls your money, and most people never see it. It is not written anywhere, no one explains it clearly, but it works every single day, shaping your financial life without your awareness. And the moment you understand it, you begin to see why your results have never truly changed. This rule is not about income, intelligence, or opportunity. It is about behavior. The way you act when money enters your life, that moment decides everything. Not once, but every single time. And over time, repetition turns that moment into your financial reality. Most people believe money disappears because of expenses. But expenses are only the result. The real cause is the order of decisions. What comes first and what comes last. This order is the invisible rule that controls everything. If spending comes first, growth never happens. If growth comes first, everything changes. It sounds simple, almost too simple, and that is why most people ignore it. Because simple things are easy to overlook. But this rule does not care if you notice it or not. It continues to work every day, and every time money enters your life, it follows the same path you have repeated before. To change your results, you must first see the rule clearly, because you cannot change what you do not understand. The invisible rule works through order, not how much you earn, but what happens first. Most people let money flow directly into spending. This feels normal because it solves immediate needs. But when spending always comes first, there is no space left for growth to exist at all. This pattern repeats without resistance because it feels natural. You do not question it. You simply follow it, and over time, this repetition becomes automatic. You are no longer deciding. You are reacting, and reaction always leads to the same result. The rule is simple. Whatever comes first grows. Whatever comes last disappears. If spending is first, spending grows. If saving or investing is last, it never happens. This is the structure that controls your money, even if you never notice it. To change the outcome, you must reverse the order. Growth must come first. Not sometimes, not when it is convenient, but every time. This is how you break the pattern that has been controlling your results for years. At first, this feels difficult because it goes against your, but this discomfort is necessary. It means you are changing the system instead of repeating it. Once the order changes, everything else begins to follow. And this is where the real shift begins. Once you reverse the order, the flow of money changes immediately. It no longer disappears without direction. It follows a structure you created. This structure may feel small at first, but it introduces control. And control is what allows growth to exist in a way that was not possible before. The first step is always protection. A portion of your money must be removed before anything else happens. Not after your expenses, not if something is left, but first. This is how you apply the rule in practice and begin changing your results. Most people resist this because it feels restrictive. It feels like you are taking something away from yourself. But in reality, you are giving something to your future. You are creating a system that works beyond the present moment. This protected portion becomes the foundation of growth. It is not meant to stay still. It must be directed, and direction is what turns saving into something that can expand over time, instead of remaining limited. Consistency is what makes the rule powerful. Not one action, not occasional effort, but repetition. Every time money enters your life, the same structure must apply. This is what builds momentum. And once momentum begins, something changes. Growth starts to build on previous growth, and results begin to appear. As momentum builds, the rule becomes easier to follow. What once required effort starts to feel natural. You no longer question the process, you simply repeat it. And this repetition removes randomness from your financial life, replacing it with a steady and controlled direction forward. Your money now begins to behave differently. It is no longer just something you earn and spend. It becomes something that works. Even small amounts begin to grow over time. This is the effect of consistency combined with direction, and it creates results that feel stronger each month. Most people never reach this stage because they expect immediate change. They look for visible results too early, and when they do not see them, they stop. But stopping breaks the rule, and once the rule is broken, the old pattern returns again. The real advantage comes from continuing when nothing feels exciting, when growth is slow, when results are quiet, when it feels like nothing is happening. This is when the system is actually working. Those who continue through this phase are the ones who move ahead. At this stage, your thinking begins to change. You stop focusing on short-term results and begin focusing on long-term direction. This removes pressure and allows the system to work without interruption. Now your financial life has structure. Money enters, a portion is protected, and that portion is directed toward growth. This flow repeats consistently and builds strength over time. As this structure continues, your confidence becomes grounded in real progress. You are no longer guessing or hoping for change. You can see your system working step by step. This clarity removes doubt and replaces it with control, making it easier to continue without hesitation or fear. Your behavior also begins to shift naturally. You stop spending without thinking and start choosing with intention. This change does not feel forced. It feels like awareness. And this awareness reduces unnecessary loss while strengthening your ability to build over time. Compounding now becomes more visible. Growth starts building on previous growth. What once felt slow begins to accelerate. And this acceleration is not luck. It is the result of consistency applied over time without interruption. Most people never reach this stage because they interrupt the process. They chase quick results, react to no's, and lose focus. Every interruption resets momentum, and without momentum, growth never becomes powerful. You avoid this by staying focused on direction, not on speed, not on comparison, but on consistency. Because consistency always wins over time, even when it feels slow in the moment. Your system now works with less effort. What once required discipline becomes automatic. And when behavior becomes automatic, progress continues without resistance. At this point, your progress becomes visible in a way that feels real, not dramatic, but steady and undeniable. Your money is no longer disappearing without direction. It is growing. And this confirms that your system is working exactly as intended over time. This creates a new level of confidence, not based on hope, but on evidence. You trust your actions because you have seen their results, and this trust allows you to continue even when progress feels slow or uncertain in the moment. Your identity begins to change. You are no longer someone who struggles with money. You become someone who builds it, and this identity shapes your decisions without effort, aligning your behavior with long-term growth automatically. Opportunities now look different. You are not asking what you can spend. You are asking what can grow. This shift opens paths that were always there, but invisible before your mindset changed. Others may not understand this shift. They continue reacting, spending, and repeating the same patterns. Their behavior may pressure you to return to old habits, and this is where many people fall back. But if you stay consistent, your results will separate you over time. Not instantly, but clearly. And that clarity reinforces the system you have built. At this stage, the difference becomes impossible to ignore. While others continue repeating the same patterns without progress, you are building something that grows over time. Your system works quietly, but consistently, and each decision you make strengthens the next one instead of resetting everything again. You also begin to feel less pressure around money, not because you stopped working, but because your progress is no longer tied only to your effort. Your money contributes. Your system supports you. And this removes the constant urgency that once controlled your decisions. Time now works in your favor. Instead of watching it pass without change, you use it to multiply your results. Every step forward adds to the last one. Every decision builds momentum. And over time, this accumulation creates something stable and strong. Momentum now carries you. You no longer need to push as hard as before. The system moves with you. And this is where change becomes permanent, because it is supported by structure instead of effort alone. Then you realize something important. There was never a complex reason why your money was controlled. It was always the same invisible rule working in the background. And once you saw it clearly, everything began to shift. You stopped reacting and started directing. And that single change created a completely different outcome over time. One that continues building without interruption. Most people will never recognize this rule. They will keep searching for better income, better timing, better opportunities, but they will ignore the simple structure that controls everything. And because they ignore it, they remain stuck, repeating the same cycle without understanding why nothing changes. You chose a different path. You focused on behavior instead of circumstances. You understood that what happens first determines everything that follows. And that understanding gave you control over your financial direction. From here, your results become predictable, not because you can control every outcome, but because your system is stable. It does not depend on luck. It depends on repetition. And repetition creates results that build over time without interruption. There will still be moments when progress feels slow, moments when nothing seems to change. But those moments do not stop you anymore, because you understand that growth builds quietly before it becomes visible. Looking back, the change feels simple, just a shift in order. But that shift created a completely different path. A path where money grows instead of disappearing without direction. This is the truth most people never see. Your money is not random. It follows rules. And the moment you change the rule, you change everything that follows.